Board of Directors. It's May 6th, 2021. It is 7:35 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please?
Director Boyd?
Here.
Director Decker?
Here.
Director Harvey?
Here.
Director Lohman?
Lohman here.
Director Slater Carter?
Present.
Okay, so let's see. For President's statement, as much as I'm not a big fan of the fog, I have seen that the fog is collecting a lot of water for us for the ground, so that's a good thing. This is a drought year in the state, in the West in general, and even though we're pretty well set for water, it's always good during these conditions to do the things that the folks here know how to do, and that is conserve and be responsible with water. Our community has done that for many years during really tough conditions, and it's always paid off. It's great to be part of a community that knows how to be responsible with water. With that, do we have any oral comments for items other than those on the agenda? Seeing no hands, let's go on to the consent agenda. Do we have anything to pull for consideration on the consent agenda?
Nope.
Okay.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
So we have Catherine moving and Peter seconding for the consent agenda. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Director Boyd?
Aye.
Director Decker?
Aye.
Director Harvey?
Aye.
Director Lohman?
Yes.
Director Slater Carter?
Yes.
All right. Consent agenda passes 5-0. Thank you. New business, item 1, review and possible action concerning Sewer Authority Mid-Coast Side fiscal year 2021-2022 collections budget.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So at the last SAM board meeting, I think April 26th, the SAM board approved the collections budget for the next fiscal year. And when I say approved, that means to send it out to the member agencies for consideration and approval. However, the general budget was not approved. The city representative stated that the city requests that the infrastructure portion be removed from our general SAM budget and voted then against the general budget. At the meeting, SAM's legal counsel commented that the current joint powers agreement requires the inclusion of the infrastructure portion in the budget. We've received also this in written form. It was sent out to the managers, a legal opinion that was prepared for the SAM general manager from the SAM legal counsel that says, in essence, the same. And I understand that the general budget is now up in the same form, again, with the staff recommendation for approval at the next SAM meeting this coming Monday. So we're talking about the collections budget here that is suggested to increase overall by roughly $200,000 or 30% over the prior fiscal year. That's due to the planned purchase of a flusher truck. Our assessment, a Montara Water and Sanitary District's assessment, would increase by $73,000, roughly 28%. We have Kishan Prativadi here, the general manager with the Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side. Tim is also here, Tim Costello, and I think your title is Superintendent or Supervisor of Operations. So both can answer questions if there are any. Our staff recommendation is to adopt a resolution of the Montara Water and Sanitary District approving and adopting fiscal year 2021-2022 Sewer Authority Mid-Coast Site Wastewater Collection System Contract Services budget.
Scott?
Yeah, Rick?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that as Clemens, well, first of all, we can almost skip the SAM report this time too, because you covered pretty much everything there. But they showed pictures at the SAM meeting of the old trucks that were basically rusted and held together with duct tape, it looked like to me. So although the budget is going up considerably, almost the entire increase essentially is the new truck, which we absolutely need. So this passed very quickly for distribution of the SAM thing, and I think it's a great thing to support.
So do we have any other presentation or comment from staff, or are we looking for questions from the board? Or from members of the public?
Let's start with members of the public, and then that might raise questions for,
I'm looking, I don't see any hands for questions from the public. Do we have any? Any comments or questions from the public? Greg Dieguez.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say I'm working with a subcommittee of the MCC on the issue of the SAM lawsuit. Dave's not on that subcommittee, so I don't think I'm allowed to say anything about what we're doing as a subcommittee without violating the Brown Act. But there will be an agenda item coming forward regarding the lawsuit. We have given a list of questions to Montara. We're hoping for answers, and I believe Clemens can explain the status there. After we get those answers, we'll do the same for GCSD and Half Moon Bay, and then we'll see what shakes out there and how we conduct the agenda item after further deliberation.
well, I can't speak for Rick, but I'm more than willing to sit down with you any time this weekend. Saturday's probably better since Sunday's Mother's Day, and with your committee and answer your questions.
Well, you already answered the questions for one of our committee members, and my preference would be to get something in writing, not verbal. I don't want to be the one making up the answers that go before the MCC. I'd prefer to have it in writing from the affected parties if possible. I understand there are legal issues that may constrain you, but let's see what happens.
Rick.
A quick question for council. Would it be good or bad if we were there at the meeting to answer additional questions without, talking about everything in general, or would that just be in the way of something and we don't need to be there to help out?
I think, given the nature of the lawsuit, and the fact that there's confidentiality issues, my first reaction is to recommend against it.
Okay, that's fine. I love Zoom meetings, every single day, so I hate to miss one.
Greg, I do want to, you're right that obviously there's challenges in trying to say the things that we might want to say, but we need to, as you know, and as you've indicated, we need to respect the need to maintain confidentiality to best discharge our duties here to our constituents. So, but I did want to say I really appreciate what you and the council are doing to bring attention to matters of great community interest, and I think we all wish we could speak a little more liberally about these things, but it's right and proper for the New Coast Council to bring attention to matters of such import. I wish you well in diving into such a difficult and contentious issue. Yeah, Greg, you had a comment?
I just want to say there may merely be matters of fact about the design of the sewer system that members of the various agencies could speak to, not about the nature of the lawsuit, but there may be just questions of fact, and I don't know how. I mean, I'd be happy to represent your answers, but that's one area which I think might be safe in terms of the lawsuit. The other thing I would say is just to register a concern, given what I'm seeing with the holdup in the budget process and what seems to be, well, I'm not sure it's a good faith effort to redesign the budget. Let's put it that way. I am concerned as a community member and a council member that the safe and efficient operation of the sewer authority is being compromised by the dispute.
I can say as a board member at SAM and at MWSD, we share the same concerns. And I will also say one of the reasons I don't want to put things in writing is I want to clear up any make sure we have cleared up any potential misunderstandings that often come with writing when people misunderstand what is said, and it is too late to clear it up. So if you do it verbally, it's easier to make sure that any questions can be clarified immediately. And that's why I tend to prefer to do things in more of an interview style than written.
Greg, I would note, I have long expressed the concern at SAM that after more than 4 decades of working together as a joint powers agency, it's definitely concerning that one party wants to come in and change all the rules 4 decades in. We had decades of strong and effective collaboration, working together jointly with the kind of benefit that people talk about for consolidation. We did it by cooperating, and we've got 4 decades of experience to demonstrate the value of that cooperation. And when one party says, well, now I want to be the boss and tell you how it's got to be, that's when life gets hard. And, we're talking about one of the least glamorous aspects of public service. And I mean, treating wastewater, this is such an ignoble thing, but those of us who've been working on it for so long, we understand this is one of the foundations of civilization, is that you get sanitation taken care of for the community, and you make sure that it just stays taken care of, and you don't let it become a big melodrama. And so for years, Rick and Catherine and Jim and I and Peter and our staffers here have all been, diligently saying, let's keep this thing working. We know how to keep it working. It doesn't require a lot of drama, but it does require some cooperation and some give and take. And I think what you're seeing with some of the re-architecting may be a little more to one side of that scale than the other. But I'm going to stop there. Do we have any further questions or comments, board members?
I move we adopt the budget.
I second that.
Okay, I take that as a motion to adopt the resolution next in order, the resolution of the Montara Water and Sanitary District approving and adopting fiscal year 2021-2022 Sewer Authority Mid-Coast Wastewater Collection System Contract Services Budget. Is that a correct understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay. Director Boyd,
Aye.
Decker,
Aye.
Director Harvey,
Aye.
Director Loman,
Yes.
Director Slater Carter.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries 5-0. And Keishan, while we have you, and Super Tim, while we have you, I'd like to thank you. I haven't gotten to see you very often at meetings over the past while, but I hear of your work, I see your work, and I want to say thank you. You're doing good work, and you're giving an example. Tim, the work that you're highlighting with your photo history of what's going on with the new wet weather facility, really helping build awareness of the public of the good work that the sewer authority is doing. And I really appreciate I watch the comments from the public, and people are glad to know and glad to see it happening. And I want to put voice to that and say thank you very much.
You're here.
Thank you very much.
We're counting on you. All right. With that, let's move to the next item. Let's see, I believe it's the review and consideration of various district policies in connection with the district's application for transparency certificate of excellence.
I think we have,
Actually, I think I skipped one.
Yes.
Sorry. Review and possible action concerning San Mateo County HMP Annex.
yeah, thanks, Scott. I'm going to ask our water engineer, Tanya, to report about the current status of this process. She's following this closely. And Tanya, if you can present this item, please.
Sure. Thank you, Clemens. Mr. President, members of the board, the district is participating this year. This is for the first time. The county of San Mateo has invited us, which we're very excited about, participate via an annex in the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan, HMP, update for the county. This process happens every 5 years, and this year the county did a really good outreach to the special districts, and upon careful consideration, the general manager decided that was a worthwhile effort to participate, so we are participating. The district will be part of the county HMP through its own annex. I don't know if you recall, but in the past, what we used to do is we participated through an annex with the Bay Area Association of the Bay Area Governments. We were never involved with the county in this process, but however, that's neither here nor there, and it's actually much better for us to participate with the county since you guys are located in San Mateo County. And the county is very well organized. The public outreach has been tremendous. And I have been attending the workshops and submitting the information. We have submitted phase 1. Now we are in phase 2 preparation, which is capability assessment and information sources. That is due to the county by May 21st. And then that would follow by phase 3, risk ranking, action plan, and information sources. And that will be due by July 30th. In a nutshell, what this is to list all the assets of each agency and understand how prepared the agency is in case of a natural disasters. This work is required by the California Emergency Services Office and FEMA. And through this work, we get a better understanding and access to possibly grant funding. What I would like to caution you about is this is not a direct access to funding. It just increases our opportunities and possibility to apply. Most likely, if there is tremendous pot of money available, the county will apply to get with us together. This is going to be a joint effort. So it behooves us to participate. The effort is, as I said, very well organized by the county. We're not spending much time, but we're providing the information in according to their templates, and it's pretty simple. The idea, the way they set it up, the idea is to spend as little time as possible by submitting the existing information. So the idea, of course, is to protect and to improve or better serve the community. And the coordination of all the mitigation and protection measures between all agencies and municipalities and the county is conducive to that effort. It helps the coordination and helps to channel the efforts into the right direction. So there's no real downside of participating, except a little bit of hours that we spend, Clemens and I, working on it and responding to the county. And the actual annex will be brought to you for adoption This must be adopted by the Board of Directors. Um, It would be adopted only after the California Office of Emergency Services and FEMA approved the HMP and the annex. However, if it would be presented to you with all the details that we submitted and for your consideration and discussion, of course. So that's kind of it. We're not asking for any action today. This is just for information only because we're in the process and we plan to provide periodic updates, but the process is going to get completed by the county by August 31 this year. And I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Let's start with the public. Greg?
First question is, what are you going to do with the share of the SAM assets being owned? I don't need an answer right now, but I understand you're working with SAM. Second is, I would encourage you to update all assets to the current replacement cost. And I'll be happy to work with Kishan to update the spreadsheet I did for him a year ago, bringing those numbers up to 2020 standards. You also have a copy of the spreadsheet I did. So, you could update that too. I would like to say first that it's great to see this being well handled and moving forward. I would anticipate that given what I think I see in the other agencies involved, Montara might be in a position to be in a leadership role with respect to SAM as well, because you seem to be on top of it. I'll just mention that there is a related issue. I was going around trying to identify governance gaps, like the agencies that weren't included, and now you are, and now GCSD is. I also introduced San Francisco Public Utilities Commission into the process because of the risk of pollution of their watersheds due to wildfires. Our buddies Steve Ritchie and Tim Martinez from Chopping the Top Off the Mountain, you may remember that. Seems to me, and I'll leave it to your discretion, a similar potential risk exists in the Caltrans right-of-way with the eucalyptus fire potential. And I would point out what I've heard from county officials is that it's tough to get Caltrans involved. The one thing that does seem to work is putting them on legal notice that they have a liability. I don't know what the MCC may be able to do in that regard, but I'm going to make some suggestions because in addition to the Caltrans right away in your watershed, there's also evacuation routes with Caltrans right of ways and eucalyptus trees. Maybe the right of way isn't the right word for what your property is. Maybe it's considered a bypass, but so those are my comments. I just encourage you to think of the watershed as an asset that's also vulnerable and do what you can to present that as well. But it's good to see you moving ahead with this, and I look forward to your submission.
Okay, Rick?
Yeah, first of all, I like Greg's answer down there on the other corner about the Caltrans right of way, or we want to call it, as an asset. That's a great idea. My question was more, if we sort of just describe our assets and their condition, is the end result of this to look for deficiencies and problems, and like the SAM plant being, if sea level rise goes too high, the SAM plant is in trouble, or is that an entirely different group? So is this more, as you described, Tanya, listing all of our assets and their status, and then decisions will be made by the county?
Thank you, Rick. Through the chair, if I may respond. So we're not talking about the condition of the assets. We're listing the assets in their replacement value, how much it will cost now today to build them new. Should a seismic or tsunami event destroy them. The deficiencies, no, they don't really come into play in a way, in that direct way. It's more of a, what are the hazards that are threatening the facilities? and what the facilities are worth
Okay,
for future reimbursement. So you're setting up two things. One is future reimbursement by FEMA, like we had a few years back when we had storms that were that caused a lot of damage to the facilities. That was probably 15 years ago, but still. Versus the pre-disaster mitigation, which is also the FEMA has that instrument that we can apply for. If we identify a hazard that we can address before disaster strikes, that's a pre-disaster mitigation. For example, many years ago, I got SFPUC a $3 million grant to mitigate a Hayward fault crossing by their aqueducts. So it's a $3 million max. So it's not very much for in the SFPUC scale, but in our scale, that's a significant.
okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. And thank you for your comments, Greg and Rick. Um,
I had a question.
yes, Peter.
What exactly is the meaning of the word annex? Is this an annex to an overall plan? That means one part added to the overall plan. Is that the meaning of annex?
Yeah, meaning that the overreaching authority is the county. The county is holding the plan, so to speak, and everyone else who is not the county government, the county facilities are attached to that plan through an annex.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
that makes sense. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments? So if not, this was for information. Thank you very much for that. And thank you both Clemens and Tanya for making a move on this. This looks like this could have some good value for as good insurance for the agency and good participation with the others.
Do we need a motion to go forward with this plan?
No, this is just for information only. Okay, let's go to the next item then. Review and consideration of various district policies in connection with the district's application for Transparency Certificate of Excellence.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. We are in the process of working our way towards the Transparency Certificate of Excellence with the California Special Districts Association. We recently asked the board to confirm our code of conduct. That was the ethics code.
Conflict of interest code.
Conflict of interest code. Sorry, thank you. Yes, it was a conflict of interest code. So here we have 4 more policies that are required for the certificate. The first one that we're asking the board to adopt tonight is the procedures for California Public Records Act requests for documents. Second one is a code of ethics and conduct for all district board members, officers, staff. Third one is an expense reimbursement policy. And the fourth one is the annual disclosure of expense reimbursements. We stayed with all of these policies closely to the sample policies that are provided from the California Special Districts Association to make this most successful for this certificate. And so I hope everybody had a chance to review the various policies. We are asking to adopt a resolution establishing and adopting the policies of MWSD related to the California Public Records Act, District Code of Ethics and Conduct, and the reimbursement of expenses. Thank you.
I think they're great, and I've been one of many here pushing to get this transparency status because I've been to other meetings, and this is it's not an honor is kind of the wrong way to describe it. It's showing the public that you have this high bar that you've set for all of your employees and what you do.
And board members.
And this tells the world that you are at that high bar level. So I've thought this is just a great process to go through.
In order for this certificate of excellence to come through, all the board members need to take these classes. Are they all taken, Clemens? Are we up to date?
You know, I don't know the current status. I know that everybody was working hard to get it. I can send the status out probably by tomorrow or so. Let you folks know.
Because
I
there's
may-
always
I
the
may-
chance. Go ahead.
I may have classes to take, but it's so much easier to do it by Zoom now.
Yeah, I think I still have one to take. What makes it fun is I have to take these plus more at work, so I'm kind of getting a double dose of. They're all very similar in content, but it's interesting to see the different composition depending on whether it's the one from work or the one from the public agency. But they're all very much going in the same directions for accountability, responsibility, and appropriate behavior. So.
I've got classes to take also.
But thank you for the reminder, Peter. I think
Okay.
we can all get busy on that. Honestly, I think I was a little surprised by the degree of effort that going for this certificate takes, because we've seen certificates of excellence in other areas before, and this one actually requires some real work and modifying our policies and getting the training, and this one's going to feel good to establish. So thank you, Clemens, for doing the heavy lifting on getting us there. And so did we have an actual motion yet?
I'll make the motion, but I also want to make the comment that as long as I have been on this board, which is for quite a while, this board has always taken the position that we will work from the highest ethical and moral standards for our community and for the reputation of our board. So these classes are not going, and none of the information in these classes will be a surprise to any of us or our staff. It's we've always had this high standard, and we're just making it official.
I'm actually glad that some of this is being, rather formally spelled out and put into training, because it's some of it takes a little bit of thought to make sure you're on the you're on the right side of it when it comes to matters of conflict of interest policy. That can get a little tricky. So it's really nice to have the courses to take you through it and help you think it through, and occasionally to surprise you and go, no, it doesn't work that way. It works this other way. But for those of us who've volunteered into public service, there's a lot of us in this meeting tonight. We are, I remember, and I haven't been able to find it recently, but the Attorney General put out a guide to conflict of interest many years ago. And it started off with congratulations, you're now partly public property. And I'm like, wait, what? And it was really a very good thing to wake up to and realize, okay, there are obligations to the public, and that's right and proper. And so these trainings are good. All right. So Catherine, you've made the motion. Do we have a second?
I have made the motion.
A second.
Okay, Peter, we've got Catherine moving and Peter seconding the recommendation to move the adoption of the resolution establishing and adopting policies of the Montara Water and Sanitary District related to the California Public Records Act, District Code of Ethics, and conduct and reimbursement of expenses. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay. Director Boyd,
Aye.
Chair Decker,
Aye.
Director Harvey,
Aye.
Director Loman,
Yes.
Director Slater Carter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes 5-0. Reports. Anything more on the sewer authority?
I think that was the big item, really. That was
And I will say for those who are, we are going to be discussing the operations budget on Monday. It's on the agenda. And please tune in.
Okay, let's move to the Midcoast Council. Greg?
We've already covered almost everything. I just want to punctuate one thing. Getting Caltrans involved in doing something about fire reduction, or even better, revegetating. FEMA considers fuel reduction a lower priority and benefit. If we can define a project that includes permanent revegetation and management of a fire-prone space, the odds of getting some coverage go up. And again, my prior comment, if we can put Caltrans on notice that there's a liability, the odds of getting them involved increase. So I look forward to working with Montara Water and Sanitary District on the MCC about this, and any suggestions you have for contacting Caltrans and moving forward with them, I'm open to.
All right, thank you.
I would like to add that at the last MCC meeting, I think it was the last one, the MCC did an excellent job discussing fire risk, particularly for El Granada. And there were about 90 people on that Zoom call. It was handled, the chair, Michelle, am I correct, Greg? Does an excellent job. All of the community was very articulate, and Keith Mangold in particular, who had brought this to the attention of the council and had been working on it for quite a while. Those of us who know Keith know he is hardworking and very detail oriented and very trustworthy in what he presents. And he had done everyone had done an excellent job. So it is available for watching. The meeting ran very long, and it is worth watching, particularly to see the attitude of the fire district. Some of us got somewhat, well, I'll just say that some of us are not surprised at the attitudes that we see from the larger government agencies. And I do believe it is important for the local community agencies representing their specific communities to be the ones who are maybe not officially taking the lead, but at least helping to coach and advise people on what to do. RCD is going to be doing more fire management, fire break management, and helping people manage the fuel load on their home properties and so on. But this is, as you mentioned, Scott, we're in a drought year, and we can only hope the fog stays heavy all summer. It's a great fire protection for us, but I am concerned that there are some other things happening statewide, and that we're a small community, and we need to protect our own watersheds, as Greg was saying, our own sewer sheds, and our own communities.
Okay, let's, anything further on Midcoast Councils? If not, Rick, CSDA?
I think our meeting's going to be early the first week of next month.
Okay, LAFCO.
That's on next Wednesday, I think. So more reports later.
Okay. I'm realizing I'm using acronyms. The California Special Districts Association, CSDA, and LAFCO is the Local Agency Formation Commission. Okay, attorney's report.
No report, President Boyd.
Okay, any director's reports?
Nothing new.
General manager's report.
I would like to remind everyone that we are currently in the process of flushing hydrants in the community. So that can sometimes lead to some discoloration in the water. So if anyone experiences that, they can contact us directly at any time. We can, walk the person through what to do. But if someone watches this meeting, essentially we would recommend to flush the first hose bib where the pipe enters your house to clear, and then flush your home to clear. But again, there's information on our website. Hopefully we were able to alert everyone that this could potentially happen. This is scheduled up until the 13th and is really done to test the fire hydrants in the community. We're working together with Cal Fire on this. Thank you.
Clemens, what was that date again, the final date?
May 13th.
May 13th, thanks.
Okay, any items to talk about adding to future agendas? Okay, we're going to take a brief recess, about 5 minutes, and then we'll reconvene in closed session, where we will discuss 3 items: conference with legal counsel of existing litigation, 1 case, Half Moon Bay suing the neighbor's case; the conference with legal counsel anticipated litigation, one potential case; and then conference with real property negotiators concerning the property at 771 Rivera Road here in Montara. We will report any action taken when we come out before we adjourn. Christine?
Thank you, President Boyd. And I'm making a statement regarding the real property negotiation item that Director Lohman will be recusing himself from that item under due to a conflict of interest under Government Code Section 87-100. Is that correct, Director Lohman?
I have that plastered on my wall and framed.
And as is our practice for that recusal, that means that Director Lohman will be leaving the meeting and not participating. Won't be able to hear or see it or participate. So, okay, well, with that, we thank you, Super Tim and Keishan for coming and representing. Well, we weren't sure, was it superintendent or supervisor? So Super Tim is what I'm going to stick with.
I'm good with that. That works.
Okay. But thank you to the members of the public. Thank you for our neighbors who are serving on other community agencies. It's very good to have you here and for this kind of mutual participation. And with that, we're going to recess. Let's recess for 5 minutes. Come back at 8:23.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much for being here.